have something like this, and when you see something like this, and you notice that people gather to make sure that things are in place, and then you're going to see some people gathering, even if they don't know what to do, but they still want to attend, some to observe. They don't have the skill, but there is a say that usually there is some that someone shall say this that first aid saves life. Yeah, first aid about the misapplication of first aid kills. So they might want to assist, but they don't have the skill of that first aid, so it can lead to something else. So this is how the overview of emergency response is. When you see emergency, in case of emergency, this is how people will gather. And so why must we prepare for emergency? Why? So why do you want to prepare for emergency? As Mr. Ubong said the other time, yeah, it's fine. We might be preparing for emergency, that we don't want emergency to occur. We don't want this to happen. We don't want that to occur. But if it occurs, what are the things you have already put in place while it occurs? What are the things that you have already make in plan when it occurs? What are the things that you have already done in case of emergency, that if this happens, this is what I'm going to do? So in this case, it's just it must prepare some people. It must prepare those in the committee of the occurrence of emergency from the first line of response, like the victim, the family, the neighbor, the passerby, and the first person of the scene. They must ensure that they are prepared, because these are the first people that will be at the emergency scene. The victim will be first person at the emergency scene. That's the first person. The family member, maybe it occurs at home. So instead of saying, please, neighbors, please come and, please, neighbors, please come in my aid. So what are the things you have to do as a family member? You have to get prepared as well. Get prepared of emergency, so that you won't start calling people. Before you call people, by the time you are calling people, time is going. So you have to make sure that you get yourself also what is it called, prepared. Your neighbor must be prepared as well. Don't limit it to yourself alone. Limit it to everybody, and the passerby and onlookers. Sure, when people are passing by and they notice that there is emergencies elsewhere, they will fall in. They will go there to see what is going on. So they are also people that we have to get prepared as well, and the first person at the scene. So these are the people that will be on the emergency scene once the emergency occurs. So what can you do to make to prepare for emergency? So what are the things that you can do? The things you can do to prepare for emergency. Number one thing is, I have to act as a safety advocate. Okay, like last week, we were seeing something going viral. Petrol surveillance at the party, and people saw it and they were like saying they were like criticizing and condemning the act, because that act is an unsafe act. Because that kind of thing, if people don't criticize it, if they condemn it, if it explode and leads to fire emergency, leads to whatever that it leads to, it's going to cause loss of life and loss of property over there. So you have to stand as safety advocate. Whenever you see something that is wrong, report, or you eliminate it. Whenever you see that this thing is wrong, if you cannot eliminate, report to people, to the appropriate quarter, to ensure that this thing is it is wrong. ensure that whenever you see people doing something wrong as well, tell them what you are doing is wrong. Ensure to let them know this thing that you're doing is wrong, and by the time it's going on, it can lead to something else that you feel that it can lead to loss of life, loss of property, loss of damage to health and safety of the environment and everything. So after act as a safety advocate, you have to raise awareness, like shout for any kind of thing. Put it on, even if you're not, if you can call, put it on the social media. I'm very sure of the generation these days that whatever is on social media in Nigeria will circulate to anywhere in the world. So whatever you see that you notice that it is wrong and it's kind of going to case more like raise awareness so that it will not lead to emergency. Raise awareness so that people will know that something is being done somewhere that is wrong, or something is being done somewhere that is about to claim life, that is about to claim property. So people will be able to come to aid. And you have to train the community members. You train the family member, train the children and the neighbors. You can just plan a kind of training, like community training. Call the community members down, sit them down, train them. In case of emergency, if there is a fire outbreak and someone is in fire, this is what to do. If there is a kind of emergency like loss of blood, bleeding, wound, this is what to do. So that by the time you do this thing, this person will not bleed to death. So you have to train people. If there is, someone is unconscious or someone develop cardiac arrest, these are the things you have to do. Once you notice that someone develop cardiac arrest, you do CPR, do cardiac cardiopulmonary resuscitation to restore the vibe to the person back. Let them know what to do. So you have to train people. Don't just feel that, okay, since I know it, whenever something happens in the community, they will call me. It might not be around that day, and it might be part of the victims. So once you are part of the victim, who is going to attend to people? So try to train the community and every other person. To help to set up the community response team. So the community is supposed to have a response team as well. Like in case of emergency, like we usually have in the workplace, there is workplace emergency team, and they are supposed to be community emergency team. So in case there is emergency, what do you think you have to do? Instead of trying to hide your knowledge or your skill, try to let them know that, okay, these are team, in case there is emergency, these are the people you call. The community itself supposed to help you to attend to any emergency that occurs. So be a leader or act responsible at an emergency. So these are the things will help you to set up emergency. So emergency happens every day, like I said the other day, and these are the two life scenarios of emergency. You can see from collapse building, roadside accident, fire accident, home accident, office accident, and so on. So these are the two life scenarios of emergency, and every day emergency happens. So the rationale for first aid now. Rationale for first aid at work. Every 50 seconds, 153 workers have a work-related accident. In every 15 minutes, in the world, every 15 seconds, 153 workers have work-related accidents. That means in every 15 seconds in the whole world, you must hear a kind of work-related accident, either by fall, by cut, by whatever that happens. You notice that it happens every day. And there are 330 million non-fatal accidents per year. So it's not all accidents that are fatal. There are some that are not fatal. So like ordinary coronary is not fatal. So, but there are still accidents. So if this kind of thing happens, what are the things to do? So that's what I heard. So, but it happens every day. These are the facts, and it's fact, and it's sourced from the International Labour Organization. Global body, 3,005 deaths from road traffic accident daily. 400,000 deaths from burst injury annually, 372 deaths from drowning annually, 346,000 deaths from unintentional poisoning annually, 50 million people suffer stroke annually, 5.4 million people are bitten each year by 2.7 million venomous snake, and up to 138,000 people died yearly. 50 million people have epilepsy worldwide. So this kind of thing that most of them leads to emergency. So first rationale from the World Health Organization, they recommend that learning cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which is CPR, as a means of reducing death from drowning, from cardiac arrest, from asphyxia, from heart attack, and so on. So by the time you learn cardiopulmonary resuscitation, you are reducing chance of death or number of deaths annually, because once someone develops cardiac arrest, that person has 4 to 6 minutes to live. If there is no response on time, it can lead to death. But if there is response on time and you know what to do properly, this can still recover this person back to life. Example is Christian Eriksen of Denmark during the opening match of Euro 2020. He discovered heart attack on the field, but with the help of trained personnel and the availability of AED, they performed CPR on him and applied AED, and he was stayed back to life. And this kind of thing has occurred to people, same footballers. Don't let me even say maybe at home or at work. It has occurred to same footballers because there was no proper what's it called, management, or there was no help that arrived on time. They were able to get resuscitated back to life. So first aid. First aid is the initial care given to a casualty before qualified medical help are reached. That means first thing you have to do to someone, first assistance due to a casualty, first the initial help you have to do to someone before a doctor arrives, a medic arrives, any qualified medical personnel arrives. So the first thing you have to do to that person is called first aid. And first aid really helps. First aid, it's what will keep some people alive than ever. It is when you give first aid and there's going to be aftercare. When you don't give first aid, you don't apply something to that person. Once it's a critical situation or issue, it leads to death, and it can lead to, before the medical help arrives, that person must have given up. So it is good to learn first aid. It's good to give first aid appropriately. So aims of first aid, why are we giving first aid? That's the aims of first aid. Why are we giving first aid? What are the reasons we are giving first aid? The reason we are giving first aid is that we give first aid to save life. We are giving first aid because we want to save life. We are giving first aid to promote a condition becoming worse. Already there is a condition. Okay, to save life. Okay, let's say someone developed cardiac arrest and that person have limited time to live. Your CPR you are giving to that person is the first aid you are giving to that person. So that's mean you are trying to save that person's life. You are trying to revive that person back to life. That's like preventing condition becoming worse. There is a condition already, and there is a bad condition already. So you can't just leave that person because the condition. If you can prevent that condition, it will not become worse, and from there they can take it up and revive that person back to life. Example is if someone is bleeding. If someone is bleeding profusely and you don't feel that, okay, because this person is bleeding, if you don't prevent that condition becoming worse by stopping that bleeding, that person can bleed to death. And to promote quick recovery as well. So those are the aims of first aid: to save life, to prevent a condition becoming worse, and you are giving first aid to promote quick recovery. So now we are going to basic life support. So that's the basic condition you are given in first aid, and when someone is lying helplessly, you don't know what is wrong with that person, you want to know what is wrong. So you have to go with the basic life support, which is basic condition in first aid, which is you check the airway, the breathing, the circulation, and check the stability if the person is alive. So I believe you can hear me.
Yes, we are hearing you very clear, sir.
Okay, so the approach, the first aid conversation now. These are is part of basic conversation in first aid, the part of the post-like support I showed you that time. So you approach the scene safely. So that means you are checking for safety, you are checking for danger. When you approach a scene, don't just go into the scene and be a Superman, superhero. You want to save life. You want to be on the headline of the newspaper. You just want to save someone's life. Just go into the scene like that. No, try to know what is wrong. Try to know what is going on in the surrounding. Try to know what is going on in the environment of that scene. Don't just go in. Check for safety and check for danger. Ensure that the scene is safe for you to approach. Ensure that there is no hazard that can cause more harm on you. No danger, nothing that can cause more harm to you. Once there is no safe, there is no harm, the scene is safe, saying you can approach, then you check for response. If you are checking for response, you check it with this acronym AVPU. You check the alert. By alerting, if you're alerting, you make a sound around the casualty. So once you make the sound, check the sound, ensure that that scene is safe. Then once there is sound, if there is no response, make a voice. Hello, call the person's name. If you know the person's name, like today is Sunday. Hello, Sunday, are you okay? What is wrong with Sunday? Hope Sunday is fine. Sunday, call the person if you know the person's name. If you don't know the person's name, hello, gentleman. Hello, young lady. Hope you are good. Hope you are fine. Just check and try to know what is wrong with that person. Ensure that there is response. If there's no response, tap gently. Don't shake, gently. If there is no response, talk to that person, tap gently. The reason you are doing that is if someone is sleeping or someone is deaf, you are clapping, you are shouting, a deaf man cannot hear that, but a deaf man should be able to feel painful stimulus to know that someone is touching he or she. So try to check, tap, hold the person's hands, tap gently. Don't shake that person, just tap gently. So after then, if there is no response, you shout for help. You are shouting for help because you want to know if you shout, this person will respond. Or you want to know if you shout, if that means this person is sleeping, he will wake up. And you're shouting for help because you need help as well. You need someone that will assist you to do one or two. So yeah, that's why you're shouting. You shout for help. So once you are shouting for help, then you go to, you open the airway. Once you open the airway, you place your forehead you place your palm on the forehead, the other on the jaw, open it gently, check the mouth if there's any obvious obstruction in the mouth. If there's none, then you check for breathing for 10 seconds. This person has 10 seconds to live. So check for breathing for 10 seconds. What are you doing for 10 seconds? You are looking, listening, and you are feeling. What are you feeling? You are looking at the chest, if the chest is rising or it's falling. You are listening to the sound of the breath. If, when someone is breathing, there's going to be a visual sound, you hear the sound of the breath, and you are feeling the heat, the hot heat, the hot air that person is breathing out. For 10 seconds, you are doing that simultaneously for 10 seconds. Then, once there is breathing, don't go for that place in recovery position. But if there is no breathing, you call the emergency management service. In Lagos State, we have 767. In Nigeria, we have 112. So you call the 767 or 112. Or if it's at the workplace, you should know your emergency response team there. You know their number there, call there. And if it is in your estate too, if they have the emergency number to call. But if this is in general ward where you are just in a place where you know that the emergency response number you are using is general one, then you have call 767 or you call 112. So after then, you give your chest compression. That's your CPR. CPR is combination of 2 mouth breaths and 30 chest compression. You give 30 chest compression and 2 mouth breaths, and you use your AED, which is automated external defibrillator. So that's it. You give 30 chest compression and you give 2 mouth breaths. So I'm going to play a video now so that will help me summarize what I've just said. So I hope you enjoy the video. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, we are hearing you, sir.
Okay. So I'm about to play a video now. So
hello.
Enjoy.
In this health sketch, we want to talk to you about CPR, which stands for Cardiopulmonary Resuscitation. We use CPR when someone has collapsed and is not breathing because it can keep people alive until emergency services arrive. Learning these simple life-saving skills is as easy as ABC. All you have to remember is the doctor's ABC. D is for danger. First, look around carefully to make sure the area is safe for yourself and others before approaching. R is for response. Shake them gently by the shoulders and ask them loudly. Are you all right? If there is no response, you need to S. Shout for help, as any assistance will be helpful. A is for airway. Gently tilt the head back like this to open up the airway. B is for breathing. Look, listen, and feel for signs of normal breathing. Look for normal chest movements. Listen for normal breathing sounds. And try to feel your breath against your face. Do this for no more than 10 seconds. If there is no sign of breathing, or if they are breathing in an unusual, noisy way, we need to start CPR. First, make sure that an ambulance is on its way. If you have someone with you, ask them to make the call. Putting the phone on speaker mode is useful as the ambulance service can talk you through the steps. C is for circulation. Circulation means the flow of blood around the body, and when the heart stops pumping, we need to take over this role by pushing down hard and fast on the chest. Start by placing the heel of one hand at the centre of the person's chest and interlock your fingers like this. With arms straightened, press down hard and fast, letting the chest come back up fully each time. Fast means around 2 times every second. And hard means that the chest needs to go down by about 5 centimetres. This might sound a lot, but you do need to push hard for it to be effective. If you have been trained, you can give 2 rescue breaths after every 30 compressions, as this helps provide some oxygen. However, if you have not been trained or are not comfortable, just keep going with hands-only continuous chest compressions. If someone else is with you, swap over if you begin to feel tired, and don't stop until either a health professional takes over or the person is definitely breathing normally. Sometimes we can add another step. D. D is for defibrillation. which is about delivering a shock to restart the heartbeat. Some public areas and workplaces have an easy-to-use defibrillator on site called an automatic external defibrillator, or AED. Automatic means that it is the machine that decides what to do, so you can't go wrong, and it even talks you through the steps. If there is no AED available, keep going with CPR until the ambulance arrives. That's it. So to recap, remember doctor's ABC. And if you have it, D. That's D for danger, R for response, S, shout for help, A for airway, B for breathing, C for circulation, and D for defibrillation. In this health sketch, we've shown you the simple steps you can take to help someone who has collapsed, is not breathing, or not breathing normally. Why not take a training course to practice these steps? Share this video with
Oh, so can you hear me?
Yes, we are with you, sir.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video.
It was awesome.
So to recap,
Yeah.
remember...
Okay,
Hello.
so I'm going to play this real life video with you. So enjoy this as well.
In this video, you will learn how to perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation following cardiac arrest in an adult.
Please, the volume is low.
If the person loses consciousness, call for help if you're alone. Lay them on their back. Check that the casualty is still breathing by placing one hand on their forehead and the fingers of your other hand beneath the tip of their chin. Gently tilt their head back and lift their chin to open their airways. If you see no breathing movement, hear nothing, nor feel their breath on your cheek, then the casualty is not breathing. Gently tilt their head back and lift their chin to open their airways. If you see no breathing movement, hear nothing, nor feel their breath on your cheek, then the casualty is not breathing. Call the emergency services and, only if there is one nearby, go and fetch a defibrillator. If there are other people around you, ask someone else to fetch the defibrillator. In the absence of a defibrillator, or whilst waiting for someone to arrive with one, begin cardiopulmonary resuscitation. To do this, place the heel of the palm of your hand in the middle of the casualty's bare chest. Place your other hand on top of his hand. Position yourself directly above their chest with your arms straight. Press down on the chest to a depth of between 5 to 6 centimeters with both hands. Maintain a rhythm of 2 compressions per second. Alternate 30 chest compressions with 2 rescue breaths, but only if you know how to do them. Otherwise, perform chest compressions only. If you perform mouth-to-mouth breathing, do not forget to tilt the head back before each rescue breath and to be sure to check that the casualty's chest inflates. Continue cardiopulmonary resuscitation without stopping until the victim begins to breathe normally, or the emergency services arrive, or a defibrillator is brought to the scene. In the first minutes immediately after cardiac arrest, the victim may breathe weakly or take irregular noisy gasps. These are known as gasps. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation following cardiac arrest in an adult. If the person loses consciousness, call for help if you're alone.
Okay, thank you very much. So So that is cardiopulmonary resuscitation in adult. That's conventional one. That means there is no COVID-19, and there is you people have shared the same risk of COVID-19 together. I mean, you and the casualty have already shared the same risk of COVID-19 together. So you can give that kind of cardiopulmonary resuscitation to that person by putting mouth into the person's mouth, doing mouth-to-mouth chest compression, and so on. So now let's just talk about CPR in pandemic. Like, okay, let's assume that there is COVID-19, and you, number one, you don't know the risk of the COVID-19 level of that person, or you don't know that person at all, and you want to assist because of this pandemic. So these are the things you are going to put in place. So these are how to do CPR in adults when there is COVID-19. If the person is unconscious and not breathing normally, do not put your face near that person's near theirs. That means, you know, notice that the other time when you are trying to give CPR, you are trying to tap, you are moving down to that person's mouth to know what is wrong with that person. But now, because there is the COVID, you don't need to move close to that person. Just try to check from far, and then try to call the ambulance. When you call the ambulance, you can use a towel. Yeah, you can use a piece of towel or a piece of cloth or a nose mask to cover that person's nose. Then do not do mouth-to-mouth respiration. Just do your chest compression. Do it as many times as you can do it. Do it when you are tired, can call someone else to help you to continue. So just do it. And the reason you are just doing the chest compression is that the main function of that chest compression is to move the remaining blood or the remaining oxygen in the body to the brain. That's why you're compressing the chest. So it doesn't mean that if you don't give too much to mouth breath, that person might not be able to move or to resuscitate back. Once you are able to push the blood or the oxygen into the brain, and once the oxygen receives the brain, that person can come back to life. So that's just it. And you can use a defibrillator if available. So let me play this video. So you
shows us that there are large and unacceptable disparities in bystander CPR and survival in disadvantaged communities. Cardiac arrest triple the chances of that person suddenly.
And then they are breathing abnormally and they're unconscious.
In light of the current COVID pandemic, if this happens outside of the home to a stranger, first make sure to put your mask on and then put a cloth over the victim's mouth to minimize the spread of any particles during compressions.
All you need to do now is two things. Step one, I want you to take out your phone. You're gonna dial 911. You're gonna put your phone on speaker mode and you're gonna lay it down on the floor next to you. This way your hands are free to do whatever you need to do while the dispatcher is there to also give you further instructions.
911, what's your emergency?
Second, you want to make sure that the person is on a hard surface, not a bed. You want to put one hand over the other, use the palm of your hand, and aim for the center of the chest. Lock your elbows and push hard and fast. The key to compressions is don't stop. You want to press about 100 to 120 times per minute. You don't need to do mouth to mouth or take off their shirt. The idea is your hands are their heart. And if you stop, even briefly, there's no blood flow. Remember, you cannot mess this up and you will not hurt the person. The only mistake is not starting CPR.
Be sure to keep going until professional help arrives. In children, the only difference is that we encourage you to do rescue breaths. We want you to do them at a rate of 30 compressions for 2 rescue breaths and continue in that cycle over and over again.
So just remember, if you see someone suddenly collapse and they're not breathing normally, call 911 and put your phone on speakerphone.
In Nigeria, yeah, you call
Next, put one hand over the other, lock your elbows, aim for the center of the chest, and push hard and fast. And don't stop until professional help arrives. The only way that you can mess this up is not trying.
So now you have all the information you need to help save someone's life. Hopefully together, we can help increase the survival rates of out-of-hospital cardiac arrest for everyone in Texas. Thank
So after everything, once you have done your cardiopulmonary resuscitation by doing your chest compression, and if there is AED, automated external defibrillator, and you want to use AED, just get it, fix it. It has two parts. So on the pad, it has been described on where you are going to place the pad. So one will be on the chest, and anywhere, any description the pad gives you, that's how you're going to use it. And this machine delivers shock to the heart to help control the rhythm of the heart. So once you place the pad, the machine will tell you what to do, will tell you how to move, will tell you everything about the process, will tell you to stay clear. Once you stay clear, it will help to analyze casualty, to know what is wrong, to know how you're going to know when you can give CPR or when it's going to deliver shock. So once this machine, and when you are using this machine, ensure that you don't use this machine on a wet surface because it delivers shock. So that you won't get electrocuted as well. So I'm going to play you the video of how to use AED now. So I believe you can hear me.
Yes, we are with you, sir.
Clear. Hello? Hello? Excuse me. Call 999. Tell him he's not breathing.
Ambulance, please.
So always
gentleman's
involve a
collapsed.
bystander
He's not
when you are
breathing.
giving first aid.
Duncan!
Even if they don't know what to
Quick,
do,
get the AED.
tell them what to
It's
do.
over
They will
there.
help you out. Because
Hurry.
you need help while giving first aid. You can't do it alone.
Where is the
Get
AED
her.
machine?
Round the corner, on the wall.
So AED should be accessible to everybody, everywhere. Get the AED.
Quick.
Workplace, even in Nigeria, we should be seeing AED in
He just collapsed.
every street in Nigeria as well. Because of cardiac arrest, so they don't want to pick it. But we'll get them one day.
Pull red handle to open bag. Look at pictures on pad.
So check the pad. You see? Can you see the direction of the pad? Like it has been written on the pad that one should be placed
Apply pad to
sideways. Can you see that it's taking sideways,
press first.
side of the casualty,
Peel
and one should be
upper pad
placed
on blue plastic.
on the chest by the
Apply
other
pad to
side,
bare skin
because
exactly
it
as
is
shown in the picture.
written on
Press
it is drawn on the pad how to use the AED.
Not touch
So the machine will tell you what to do. Stay clear. Can you hear?
Evaluating heart rhythm. Stand by. Preparing to shock. Everyone clear. Do not touch patient. Delivering shock. Shock delivered. Provide chest compressions and rescue breaths.
So when give you CPR, so when to stop CPR, if I give you CPR, when is time you have to stop CPR? One, when you notice that the scene is unsafe, to continue. When the scene has become unsafe to continue, please stop CPR so that you won't harm yourself as well. So when you notice that a qualified help arrives to take over, please hand over your casualty to them. Just give them a report on where you go, because you yourself, while about to start the CPR, you've already called them to come and assist, to come and give someone. So don't say because this person has not come back to life and you must do that yourself. So once you notice that a qualified help arrives, please stop CPR. When a sign of life returns, you notice that this person has come back to life. You have seen that this person has already responded to response. To all form of response, maybe stimulus, to sound, to call, please stop CPR. Don't go further. And if you notice that you become physically unable to continue, you are tired, there is fatigue. When you're doing, you are already tired because by doing CPR, you also get tired. So you can stop CPR so that you won't also get the fatigue will also make you to become a casualty. So stop CPR. And when you notice that unauthorized person to now this life esteem, that means an authorized person has announced that this person is dead. You can stop CPR. But at the first stage, you don't have the right to say someone is dead. Let the authorized person say that. Maybe a doctor, a qualified person that is in the position to say, okay, this person is dead, please pack this person, then you can stop CPR. But if not, if all this is not occurring, so you can still continue your CPR. So after everything, you've placed your casualty on a recovery position, your casualty has come back to life, there is sign of life, there is sign that this person has is responding, then what you have to do is place that person on the recovery position. So recovery position will help this person to sleep comfortably, to make sure that that person is on comfortable position. If the person want to throw up, person want to do whatever, that person will be able to do that by placing this person on a recovery position. So if you are placing on a recovery position, you have to follow this technique. And this technique will help you because, okay, you ensure that the back will be straight, the jaw will forward, chest will off band. That person will sleep sideways to ensure that that person on the current position. So let me just watch this. You see what I'm saying?
In this video, you'll learn how to put an
So now
unconscious
this person
person
is
who's
breathing.
breathing
Because this
normally
person is
in the
breathing,
recovery position.
maybe you've
Lay the
checked
casualty
there's
on their
breathing,
back
or
and ensure that their
you've
legs
done
are
your
together
CPR,
in line with the rest of
there's
the
sign
body.
of life. This person has come
Kneel
back
down
to life.
on
You
one
can't just leave
side
this
of the
person
person. Place the
sleeping
arm that is
facing
nearest to
floor.
you at a
So
right
you place
angle
on
to
the
their
recovery
body,
position.
ensuring that
No
their
matter how
hand is
big,
pointed
fat, or
upwards towards their
what that
head.
person is,
Take
you
their
should be
other
able to
arm
hold this
and
person.
place the back of their head against their ear, which is nearest to you. Hold this position. Keep the palm of your hand pressed against theirs. Take hold of their leg, which is furthest from you, from the back of the knee. Lift it so that it bends at the knee joint, but make sure that their foot remains on the floor. With their leg bent, roll the victim over towards you to place them onto their side, so that their knee touches the floor. Remove your other hand from theirs, making sure that their head does not move from this position. Make a right angle with the leg you have just used to roll them over. Open their mouth, making sure not to move their head too much.
And you cover.
Cover and monitor them, paying close attention
reason
to
you're
their
covering is to
breathing
guide against
until the
shock.
emergency services arrive. If the casualty is lying on their stomach and breathing normally, you could also leave them in this position, remembering to simply turn their head to face one side.
So when you are calling the emergency medical response, so ensure that by the time you're making your call, ensure that your call is well detailed. Just don't call and say, hello, there's emergency, come on. You have to give them details of the emergency. Tell them what is really wrong and tell them what is, how the situation is. So while calling the emergency, you tell them your name and destination. Hello, Mr. Yemi Ayeni, I'm a first aider, I'm a responder, and I noticed that there's emergency, and you tell them the scene situation, including the other present. Like the scene situation is okay, it's calm. It is fine. You can drive into the scene situation because we're also there, no nothing to harm or something like that. So by the time you tell them that, you tell them the nature and the causes of the accident. Okay, it's a collapsed building, or it's a fire accident, or it is a roadside accident, maybe motor accident or something like that. Okay, it is a fall from height and something like that. Just tell them the nature of the accident. So by the time you are telling them that, you tell them the numbers of casualty. Give them the details, numbers of casualty, that are present, so that even when they are coming, they will know how to prepare themselves. If you just tell them like one casualty, what if they are coming and they prepare for one person? And we are still the people in this Nigeria that will start saying that they came, they only bring one, they did not bring one more enough equipment. So why are they bringing this? Why are they doing that? Something like that. So you have to give them details of what is going on. Details, the number of casualty and the condition and start of the casualties. Condition now, okay. One is having a amputated leg, one has a fracture of femur, one there is a bleeding with wound, one is unconscious, is not responding to is not responding, and we are trying to do something. So tell them that. And the progress of assistance living. Okay, after we have given, okay, we the one that has bleeding, we have helped to cover the wound, the bleeding, to stop the bleeding and cover the wound so that that person will not bleed more. You tell them what happened, what you have given. So after then, tell them the location of the accident. Very important. If you don't tell them the location of the incident, they will not be able to locate that place. They will not be able to come. So you tell them all this. Tell them all this while calling emergency medical services, the EMS. Just call them. And remember that our emergency number here is what? 1124767. So you call them, tell them this situation of ground. I'm very sure they'll be able to come. So other areas. So this is unconsciousness. These are the medical conditions that leads to unconsciousness. I will not be able to explain this because of time, but these are the medical conditions that lead to unconsciousness: the fainting, imbalance of body temperature. That when talking about imbalance of body temperature, mean the body temperature is not balanced. Is that high or low? So if the body temperature is high, it's called hyperthermia. But if the body temperature is low, it is called hypothermia. So we have shock, we have head injury. So when I'm talking about head injury, we are talking about concussion and compression. So that's the head injury we have. A kind of obstruction in the brain. It can lead to unconsciousness, maybe by shaking of the brain or by depression in the skull. It's called head injury, which is concussion or compression. So we have stroke. We have hypoxia, which is imbalance, inadequacy of oxygen in the body. That's hypoxia. If there is not enough of oxygen in the body, it's hypoxia. We have heart attack, anaphylaxis, allergic reaction to something. We have asphyxia. Asphyxia is obstruction in the air passage. Poisoning. Poisoning I'm talking about poisoning in the body. That's poisoning. Epileptic fit, and we have diabetes. So talking about diabetes, talking about hello, can you hear me?
We are with you, sir.
Okay, so diabetes now, we're talking about high or low sugar level in the body. When the body sugar level is high, it's called hyperglycemia. What it is low, it is called hypoglycemia. So these are the causes of unconsciousness. These are the things that leads to unconsciousness, leads to loss of breath or loss of awareness in the surrounding. Once there is loss of awareness of surrounding, it's called unconsciousness. So management of trauma, trauma management, like trauma injury. So we have bleeding and wound. We have burns and scars. We have bite and stink. We have fracture and sprain and strain. So now, if you want to manage bleeding, you first sit that person down or lie that person down. Ensure that that person has rested for the activities that person is doing. Ensure that that person has stopped doing further activities so that it will lead to more bleeding. So you examine the wound, you check. So you apply pressure. So we are giving pressure on wound or trying to stop wound. You give direct pressure or indirect pressure. Direct pressure is by the time you apply a pad on the affected part directly. So indirect pressure is maybe you have to suspend the nearest pressure point to the affected part. So that's indirect pressure. So ensure that the main treatment to stop wound or to stop bleeding is to apply pressure. That's the main treatment to stop bleeding. Ensure that you apply pressure on the affected part. By the time you apply pressure, the pressure itself makes bleeding to stop. By the time you apply pressure on the affected part and you place a pad there, it's going to cause blood clotting to the surrounding. By the time it causes blood clotting to the surrounding, the affected part will stop. The bleeding will stop. Then after applying pressure, you can elevate. You are elevating because you have to elevate the affected part above the heart, so that when the heart is pumping blood to the part of the body, by the time you get once it is above the heart, the pressure to go to the affected part will not be more than putting it down. So ensure that you place it. So that's why in school then, I attended a public school when I was in secondary school. So in our secondary school, when a teacher enter a class and tell everybody, kneel down there, raise up your hands. By the time you raise up your hand and not even touching each other, but just raise up your hand, you notice that.
Mr. Ayeni, please speak up.
Can you hear me?
I think he's picking up enough because I can hear him very clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Very, very clear, very clear.
So you can continue, it's very clear.
Okay. So you notice that when they ask you to kneel down and you raise up your hand, by the time you raise that hand up without touching each other, you notice that gradually you'll be breathing down, because the hand is telling you that blood is not flowing to that part of the body. So that's how it is. Just try to elevate the hand. So by the time you elevate the hand, till you get to the hospital, so that blood will not be able to flow more like normal to the affected part, so that that person will not be able to lose more blood. So you cover and elevate. So if you are trying to bombs, if you are trying to manage bomb, let's assume that there is fire outbreak, there is fire outbreak, there is mistakenly hot or substance pour on someone, maybe in the kitchen also. So what you have to do is that you cool the bones. You place it on the water for at least 10 minutes. Please, the function of that is to cool the affected part and to reduce pain. That's the function. Just cool the affected part. By the time so remove any clothing material on that part. But when you know that it is bone, like a kind of fire accident, and the material already stick on that person's body, please don't remove. But by the time you remove, because you are causing more damage to the body, because it will lead to more a severe wound or bleeding to the affected part. So you cool over. Once you cool, just try to cover that person, that affected part, with a sterilized dressing. You can use a clean film, like all these nylon that they used to wrap food in the kitchen, or that all these professional caterers use. That's one of the cleanest thing you have to use, because it has been sterilized and it is not exposed. Because you notice that it is being opened from one surface to another surface. So by the time you use that to cover the affected part, try to seek medical advice. Just don't treat casualty and leave. Seek medical advice. Take your casualty to the hospital for proper treatment. So for fracture, you notice that someone has a broken bone. If there is a broken bone, you provide a support to the injured area, expose the site of the injury. Once treat for any wound. Once you notice that there is wound, first treat for the wound, because there are some fracture that leads to what is it called, complicated fracture like that protrude out of the press out of the skin and leads to wound. So once it's noticed that there is wound, first try to pat around, stop the wound. Then you have to immobilize the affected part. Immobilize the affected part means that the affected part that is not functioning, the affected part that has been damaged or that has been fractured needs to be, so that it will lead to complicated fracture. It will cause more complicated issues. That's why you have to immobilize the affected part. So if it is a fracture, lower extremity, ensure that you tie, you support the leg with splints to ensure that the person is not moving, and you have to manage that person carefully. If it's fracture, what is it called? At the upper extremity, maybe let's say fracture at the humerus, fracture at the ribs, you have to immobilize the hand, ensure that the hand is not moving, so that it will not cause more or any complicated issue. So the main treatment for fracture is to immobilize the affected part. So once you immobilize the part, you can reassure your casualty and monitor that person. By the time you're assuring your casualty, does not mean you're lying. Just tell that person that sorry, you should be fine. Just sorry, it's a minor injury. Sorry, it's just something that will be handled or anchored by the doctor. You should be fine. You should be okay. Just give a sign of hope. Give that person a psychosocial first aid, psychosocial support. Let that person knows that this thing is just my. Don't shout, they will cut this leg. You are trying to create fear on that person, and that kind of thing can lead to shock, and once it leads to shock, it can lead to death. So just try to reassure, sorry, it's just a minor injury. You'll soon be fine. No, that's happened to someone before. This is how we do it, and that person starts working, something like that. So you can do that to any forms of injury, even if you know that this person, they amputate the leg. It is not you as the first aider that will say that this leg, they will cut it. You are not in position to tell anybody like that. Just tell them, sorry, you'll soon be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be under control. Everything will be fine. Sorry. So you just try to give sign of hope to that person. So if there is like management to the soft tissue, that is sprain and strain, that's injury to the joint and the muscle. So injury to the joint is sprain, while injury to muscle is strain. First thing, there is an acronym that says RICE. By the time you give that person RICE, that person will be fine. And I'm sure that rice is not that cost in Nigeria anymore now. A acre of rice is how much? 100 naira, right? So just give that person rice to eat. So first thing you have to do is to rest the affected parts. Ensure that the affected part is not moving, is not doing any further activities. By the time you rest the affected part, put ice on the affected part. So if you are putting ice on the affected part, ensure that you wrap the ice. Like if this ice block, wrap it. Don't put a naked ice on that affected part. Wrap it with a piece of cloth. Once you wrap it, place it on the affected part. By the time you place it on the affected part, do that for about 15 to 20 minutes. When you do that, back. So you are doing this for the first 48 hours is to put ice. Ice will help you to compress and to shrink the affected part, and it makes sure that there is no the affected part will not swell, there is no swelling at the affected part, and there is no pain. So it will shrink the accumulated of oil or fluid, accumulated of fluid that want to gather at the affected part. Ice will make you to shrink it. So once you do that, you compress. If you are compressing, you are using a bandage, a roller bandage, which is a quick bandage. to elevate. You can see it here that there is a roller bandage on the affected part. So once you do that, then you can now elevate the affected part. You pull the affected part up. That person can maybe while sitting, ensure that the affected part is above where that person is sitting to elevate the affected part. So once you do that, if need be, you can transfer the casualty to the hospital for further accident. And so for further, what's it called? For further treatment, you transfer your casualty to the hospital for further treatment. So thank you very much for taking your time and participating for this class. I remain myself again. I am Ayeni Akiyemi Olatubosun. Thank you very much.